what I can leave you with in maybe the next 10 minutes is quickly talk about what I have learned as an entrepreneur, some of the most important skills, most important lessons I have learned, and uske baad agar if there's any questions that you have or any thoughts, one or two questions if we can take, that will be helpful. Would that be okay? All right. So when I entered college, I don't know if I should say it, but when I entered, not this college, my college in 2008, I went there to have fun. I had no idea of studying or anything because I was going there with a very open mind about learning from my peers, learning from people who are with me, who are studying with me, and to know more and more about what their journeys are like, because everybody was coming from such diverse backgrounds. So I think one of the most important things you can do today is, in the next 3 or 4 years, ensure how you build bonds with people who you can learn from. That's one of the most important skills that I learned in college, and it was not limited to only people who were with me in that college, but also the entire university, the entire India, I would say, actually. So my dream started when of entrepreneurship started when I entered college, and by the end of my 3-year period, I was very sure that I want to pursue entrepreneurship and not sit for any placements. And this is about a decade back, when placements and opportunities were the only thing that was available to you. Like, there was startups was not a buzzword at all. It was not something that was looked as a career, so to speak. So that brings me to my second gyan to you, which is start up for the right reasons. Do not start up any business where your energy, time, capital, money is involved without really feeling for what you're doing. If your first business is a passionate topic or a business built on passion, it will always be a successful venture for you, maybe in terms of money or maybe in terms of learning. So start up for the right reasons. Do not start up or do not look at any business opportunity as a way because it's talked about or it's glamorous or it's more, it's more fashionable to do it. It should be a calling that comes from within you. It should be a deep desire that doesn't let you sometimes even sleep, because you are so you're so desirous and you're so it's so important for you to crack that idea. The second thing is, which is probably the most important thing, is management of your time and money both. Whenever you start a business, you have to give it time. Do not start something without giving it at least 1,000 days. I have a very simple formula. Till you see success where you will be reaching your potential, you have to give it about 1,000 days of hard work, of strategy, of working day in, day out. So do not have a short-term vision about building a business. It will mostly it will not work out. There might be some short-term gains, short-term achievements, but that will not be very helpful. So that's another important lesson, which is think big, think of something that you are able to do, which you're passionate about, but do not think that you will achieve success tomorrow. It's a long battle. Entrepreneurship is a very, very long marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not a 1 day, 2 day, 2 month, 1 year activity. And I think more than anything else, if I can open open it to the audience, it will be better, because they can ask me questions about any specific issues that they have or any specific learnings that they want to have. How many of you are here looking to become entrepreneurs? So that's a good 15%, 10%, dhire dhire more and more are saying yes. So a lot of you, so that's great. If there's any specific question, I think he wants the mic there. So,
good afternoon, sir. I basically had a very general question. How did you come across this age coffee thing? Because at the moment when this brand was launched, Muscle Blaze and other protein supplement brands were also at its peak of releasing instant coffees as a pre-workout. So, and this was a totally new brand. It wasn't like you were launching a new sector or something like that. So, and right now, in today's world, it is one of the fastest growing D2C brands. So, has it been difficult for you? And what were the learnings from your past 10 years that you applied in this, sir?
absolutely, I think the most important thing is what you mentioned in the end. There is a lot of learning that was already applied, almost 7-8 years of hardcore entrepreneurial experience that was applied here. So I used to, before starting Rage, I took a year, I would say break, or I would say more like a knowledge-seeking time, where I was looking to get inspired, and I used to travel a lot. I used to meet a lot of people, and this is 2017 and 18. And during this time, I carried a green notebook with me, and I used to write down everything that I was witnessing. My conversations, my insights that I was driving, that I was getting from my conversations. So there was a checklist that I built over time which said, for example, what sector I want to go to. I don't want to complicate it with jargon for all of you. That's why I'm trying not to use a lot of buzzwords. But basically, there was a lot of work put before launching it, then after. Because सबसे बड़ा lesson जो मेरा रहा है entrepreneurship में, business में, वो ये है कि better to spend more time before starting than after starting. It is better to plan as much as you can, because you cannot plan for the worst. You cannot plan for a lot of things that will go wrong. But you should plan for a lot of the things that can be planned before starting up. Pricing, branding strategy, marketing strategy, technology layers, overall, how do you look at business development, how much revenues you want to track, some things that are completely in your control, but which we call as micro control, but not macro control. So, बहुत सारी learnings थी. Now, if I take you back to the time 2018-19 is when we started it commercially. We hit a very specific positioning in the market. We started as functional flavored coffee, which at that point we were the only ones doing it, and that's why we have come up from a place of innovation always. So I have never looked as competition. Why Rage is so unique and why Rage is so true to its identity, because it follows its own path. Like I, as an entrepreneur, like to follow my own path. I cut out all the noise that's around me. Even when you study today, ये आगे निकल गया, इसके इतने मार्क्स आ गए, उसके इतने आ गए, ये आगे नीचे हमेशा लाइफ में चलता रहेगा किसी के साथ भी. So competition, you mentioned Muscle Blaze, for example. When you're highly focused on a category, what do people know Rage for? Great cup of coffee. What do people know Muscle Blaze for? Fitness, supplements, right? So we are very laser sharp focused on a very large category, and we have disrupted it not for only fitness, pre-workout, but for the entire population of consumers. So that's what I can tell you, but in such a short time. But we've been, I would say, focus has been one of the key reasons why we have been able to grow faster than a lot of other players in the market.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I have to ask that what is your experience with the Rage coffee?
My experience with Rage coffee?
Your personal experience, sir.
Personal experience?
Yes, sir.
Like बनाने में कि पीने में?
दोनों में.
पीने में तो यार, the biggest high is that wherever I go, I meet thousands of customers. Every gathering I go to, what is the biggest high as an entrepreneur? सबसे बड़ा reason था, शुरू क्यों किया? ताकि लोगों तक कोई चीज पहुंचे. you start a consumer company so that more and more people consume it. What is a bigger high than that? So I think my journey as an entrepreneur is very fulfilling, because what I started in my kitchen today is consumed by millions of people. So there is no bigger high than that as an entrepreneur. So as a consumer, I'm obviously very happy, not because I consume it, but because millions of people, my community, the people of this country are consuming a better product than they were before. So that has been my experience. As a business, it's excruciatingly difficult to build a business. That remains the fact, and that is the true fact. In its early days, everything is very difficult to build, and that is why I said that you should always be in it for the long run.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I want to ask that why the name Rage? What the meaning behind that?
The meaning, okay, so the name came after we created the product. The product was built to be a differentiator in the category. So what we built out as a product, so it was, we created like every human has a personality, every brand also needs to have a personality. So 2018-19, when we were building the product out, we said, what is this that we're trying to achieve? What is the personality of this brand that we want to build out, that we've already, like, the product is ready with us? We said it's futuristic, it's revolutionary, it's hipster, it's edgy, it's noteworthy, it's a lot of these adjectives that, you describe somebody. Somebody is a happy-go-lucky person, somebody is an extrovert, etc. So ये कुछ जब हमने एक word cloud बनाया rather, of all of these feelings that this brand should entice in people, we realized that this is a brand not for today or tomorrow. This is a brand for the next couple of years and decades. It needs to be built for the Gen Z and the millennial consumers of today, the young India of today, so that when they grow old, they're also consuming it and they relate to something. Hence, something that stuck with me was a lot of my younger cousins and a lot of people I know who are, younger to me. They use the word rage a lot in saying about things that are edgy. So, hey bro, you're raging today, or something like that. What's up, rager, for example. So we use that word, and it's also, technically it's a very brandable word. You see, it's 4 letters and it's an English dictionary word. To get that word trademarked in almost all classes that we are present in, it was a big achievement. It just sticks to your mind. We ran a survey, we gave options to a couple of people, I think about 100 odd people. I think it was a unanimous decision. So I go with data. I have my gut, my instinct drives me, but I need data to back up any decisions, to be convinced about any decisions. If data, pe jaoge to you'll always be fine. So we ran a survey. I think we got a very unanimous response to the word Rage Coffee. And I mean, instinctive but data-driven decision.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is that how is your coffee different from Nescafe and Brew? I mean, why should we choose your coffee? Why should we consume this?
Great. I answer that almost 10 times in a day. Another 11th time. Okay. So, the first and foremost thing is, where we started is we have a very disruptive, revolutionary mindset. That's one. When that is in your DNA, then you want to reimagine the way things are happening. You want to question, ये ऐसे क्यों होता है, ऐसे क्यों नहीं होता? I think that's what happened to me when I entered the coffee business. We reimagined everything. We reimagined the ingredients. एक अच्छा dish, एक अच्छी recipe, सिर्फ recipe अच्छे होने से नहीं बनती. You need the perfect ingredients. You need the right ingredients. Sourcing is important. So we went and started with high quality sourcing, high quality ingredients, which are the beans. Then we said we need to give more flavors. So the flavor profile, the sensories have to be elevated. And also, we need to give a higher caffeine intensity to the consumers because that was the demand of the market. We innovated on manufacturing techniques. Today, we have a 30,000 square feet production plant, probably one of its kind in the world, that does soluble coffee blending in IMT Manesar. But the first factory that we started was about a 3,000 square feet factory with just one machine churning out less than, I think, about 100 odd kgs in a day. So, manufacturing innovation happened. I did not want to take no for an answer. That was the zid. But usse important ye tha ki we were able to innovate, because when we went to any of the manufacturers, they said nahi ho sakta, jo aap karna cha rahe ho, it's not possible. Obviously, they don't want to reinvent the wheel for somebody who's a nobody. Jab usko business hi nahi milega, to, you know, most people think like that. So we had to innovate. We were forced to innovate rather, you know. So that was the second thing. The third was, I think, so recapping, ingredient sourcing was one part, manufacturing is another part. The third and very important part is that पहले क्या होता था ना, आप अपनी parents की generation में देखोगे या even 10 years before you, the power of distribution was there. When I say power of distribution, what was placed in the shelf in retail stores, you could only buy that. There was no option available for you. 4 brands हैं, 2 brands हैं, 3 brands हैं, 1 brand है. Whatever was in the shelf was available to you. Ask your parents, they'll tell you that. There was no option. Why was there no option? Why there was no innovation? Because जो बनाया मैंने रख दिया shelf पे, आपको लेना ही पड़ेगा. There was no way for you to not consume any other brand, right? You mentioned 2 brands. आपके पास ऑप्शन नहीं था थर्ड, जो भी देते थे आपको पीना पड़ेगा. Now, power of distribution got disrupted because of internet and technology. If I could build a brand online, whereas I could drive distribution online, offline, in all the channels, that was a big leverage. So we utilized that leverage also. So manufacturing, sourcing, and distribution disruption were the main reasons why we have been able to take away significant market share from the 2 brands that you mentioned. We'll take the last question. There are more questions, but I think we'll take the last question.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, do you think that this coffee market is like going as your expectations level? And if not, then what would be your future goals so that you can take that market to that level that you want?
बहुत ही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सवाल है यार, समझ नहीं आया मुझे. मार्केट मुझे ले जानी है कहाँ पे?
To your expectations level that you have might like expected from the coffee market.
My expectations from the coffee market,
Yeah.
are they on track?
Are they on track? And like if they are not on track, then what your future goals would be so that you can take them to that level?
Got it. Yeah, we've been growing at breakneck speed. So when I look at the stage at which we are at, I think there's only upwards to look at. There's only growth from where we are. But I think the overall macro market is also, the numbers are very, there is all of this data, right, which is that the CAGR of the market is at about 14%, and within the categories we operate that are growing at about 20% year on year. It's double digit year on year compounded annual growth, which is amazing, which is great. I mean, you double in 4-5 years as an industry. When we entered the segment, it was, I think, about 8,000 crore market. Today it is sitting at somewhere around 12 to 13,000 crores, maybe about 14,000 crores. This will go up to about 28 to 30,000 crores in the next 4-5 years. That's the market estimates. That is the data that you can all look up if you want to. But I don't necessarily think of it as my driving force. My driving force is my customer growth, my intuition, my data that tells me that this consumer was an uncommitted tea coffee drinker, and they have now shifted to coffee. We run surveys from time to time. We keep getting to know how many people are shifting towards coffee, how many people have never even had tea There is a 16-year-old today who doesn't want to have tea at all. And that depends. I mean, when we started, 14% of consumers in India were regular coffee drinkers, and that includes South India, which is a very heavy coffee drinking market. Today, that number is somewhere around 22% in a good 4-5 years. This number should go up to about 35 to 40% in the next decade. Cool. Thank you so much.